Hey everybody, Mrs. Bianchi. We're looking at question 2. They're asking us to find the volume of this figure, and it's not a regular rectangular prism. It's an irregular one, or what we might call a compound figure. So we have a couple options for how we can approach this. One option is we can pretend we have the whole rectangular prism, find that volume, and subtract out the cutout. Another method is to break it up into this front rectangular prism and then the one in the back, and then add those two together. And a third way we can do it is break it up. Instead of that way, we can break it up this way, where we have this piece on the right and the piece on the left. So the answer to the question, which one should you do? It's the one that's going to make it easiest for you without having to do too much inferring. So let's explore this method right here. The idea of breaking this up into a front piece and a back piece. So I'll attempt to trace it in a different color, so forgive me if my artwork isn't very good. So let's focus on this piece right here, what I'm trying to trace in red, this rectangular prism. All right, so do we have everything we need to find those dimensions? And if we do, we would apply them to this, right? So let's attempt to see if we have the numbers we need to do that, or can we infer it? So if we call this the length, and we call this the width, and this is the height. When they say 2, they're talking about this line over here. So that would be the height. We can substitute those numbers in, and you should write this on your piece of paper, by the way. So the length, 5 5/10, the width, 2 5/10, and the height, 2. So to speed things up, we're going to use a calculator. Let's pull it out. Oh, I have 2 of them open. All right, we'll make it a little small, put it over here. Let's clear it. All right, so we have 5 5/10, 5.5 times 2.5 times 2. And we get this number. So let's write that number down. 27 5/10 cubic inches. All right. So we have that. Now we need the back piece, and we have to check to make sure that we can infer all the dimensions, because we may get to the point where, oops, we don't have everything we need, we can't infer it, so we can't do it that way, and then we may have to explore one of the other options. So let's look at this piece back here, which I'm going to attempt to trace in blue. Let's see if I can get that so you can kind of see it. All right. Now, if we were to find the volume of that, we would use the same formula, which is volume equals length times width times height. Let's see if we can infer. So we can use this line as the length. That would work. For the length, we'll put that underneath the 7 5/10. We'll put that underneath the L. All right, so if we're calling that the length, could we call this the width right here? Is this the width, and what's the line? Because the problem that we have here is this 6 is not talking about from here to here. It's talking about the entire thing. See, maybe it's a little more clear here. The 6 is not from here to here. Now, could we infer it? Could we infer it? So here's what we know. We know that this piece right here, I'm going to try to highlight it in yellow. See, this piece right here is 2 5/10. And did you know that opposite sides, see, if this is 2 5/10, that's 2 5/10, this piece is 2 5/10, and this piece is 2 5/10. So if this is 2 5/10, we could subtract 2 5/10 from 6 to get this piece right here, which I'm going to try to highlight. How about in purple? Because the yellow line and the purple line would have to add up to be 6. All right, so let's go ahead and subtract 6 minus 2 5/10. And we get this number. So that purple line is 3 5/10 inches and could be used as the width of the blue figure. Let's put that in. And you might want to show off to the side where that number came from. All right, now what about the height? What about the height? Now the height, and I think I have a little line here. Let me move that out of the way. All right, so this little line here, if this is 2 right here, that means this is 2, this is 2, this is 2, this is 2. It's 2 throughout the whole thing. The height is 2. Let's put that in, times 2. So volume equals whatever the product of these three numbers would be. So let's go ahead and use the calculator and multiply them out. 7 5/10 times 3 5/10 times 2. And we get this number, 52 5/10. Let's write that number down. 52 5/10 cubic inches. All right, so here's what you have left to do. To find the entire figure, you have to add the red figure with the blue figure to get the whole thing. So why don't you go ahead and do that on your own. Add this number, and you'll find the answer. Now, if you had already done it a different way, if you had done it this way, for example, and subtracted out this cutout, that's a perfectly acceptable way. If you broke it up with the line going this way, that's another perfectly acceptable way. What would a conscientious student do? They probably would do more than one way just to make sure they get the same answer. All right, but good luck finishing that up.